An 84-year-old man was left bloodied and hospitalized after an incident with New York City police officers. Police were giving out tickets to jaywalkers. By the way, I already disagree with the cops. What are you doing? Jaywalking should not be a real thing. Jaywalking is probably the dumbest law I've ever heard of in my life. No, I mean, really, really think about that. You can walk through these, this allotted area with the lines here for you, but if you're 5 inches outside of it, we're going to give you a ticket. And I think the tickets were for like $250 or so. So these weren't like, hey, here, $15, $27, whatever it is, you got to go pay it off. No, it was a real amount of money. So police are trolling, looking for jaywalkers. They stopped this guy who was Asian, and there was a language barrier. And he didn't understand what they were saying, so he just pretty much casually tried to walk away in the midst of the conversation or the encounter. Well, the police didn't like that very much, so they wrestled this guy to the ground. Remember, he's 84 years old. A guy who's 84, he looks like he's 84. You can tell a feeble, frail, older person on their way out, slowly becoming more and more decrepit as time goes by. They wrestled this guy to the ground. They beat him. He needed 4 staples in his head. Like, that's how much they hurt him. It wasn't like make sure you slap the cuffs on him and be a little rough. No, it was, okay, you hit him a couple times and he needed 4 staples in his head. He's an 84-year-old man. And his son, who's a lawyer, couldn't see him for hours. He spoke about that to the press. The police didn't inquire about any medications or things like that the guy might have needed, and he did need medications. He was on different medications, as happens to almost everybody when they're 84 years old. And then after all that, he was charged with resisting arrest, obstructing governmental administration, and disorderly conduct. So yes, you understood the story correctly. An 84-year-old man who jaywalked, oh, what a criminal you are, you asshole, wrestled to the ground, beaten by cops, needed 4 staples in his head, and then they charge him with different crimes, including, I mean, are you kidding me? Again, I want to read them one more time. Disorderly conduct, obstructing governmental administration, resisting arrest. He's 84, and he didn't understand you. There's a language problem. There's a barrier there. So thankfully, they're going to countersue. And look, man, I hope that they get money. I hope that the 84-year-old man and the son, I hope they get a tremendous amount of money from the city, because this is just reckless. This is just cops who get their fucking ego hurt because an old man decided to walk away when they were trying to talk to him. So they overreacted and they beat his ass and they throw the book at him when all he was doing in the first place was jaywalking, which shouldn't be illegal anyway. This is like harassment. It's the cops who are breaking the law in this scenario. What, just because you have a badge, you think you're immune from doing something wrong or doing something illegal? No, it doesn't make it any better. In fact, it oftentimes makes it worse because you're supposed to be protecting the people and you're beating their asses. You know, this reminds me of a story that we recently came out of New York City where there was this guy who was mentally disturbed. He was like a schizophrenic or something, and he was like dancing in the street half naked. And so the cops showed up because they've got to figure out what's going on here, and they might have to detain the guy and get him help or whatever. But get this, the guy, he kept dancing in the street, so the cops took out the guns and fired at him. Now, they missed him, but they hit 2 innocent bystanders. One of them was an older lady with a walker. And then get this, the cops sued the guy who was dancing in the street and tried to blame him for the whole situation. He's mentally ill. He needed help. You're the ones that took out the guns and shot the innocent bystanders. Now you're blaming him. You're pointing responsibility off to other people. Look, I get it. You guys have a hard job, but that doesn't give you an excuse to get away with absolutely fucking anything, and it doesn't give you an excuse to throw your common sense out the window and act like rabid barbarians. Control your fucking selves, okay? Control yourselves. You're not above the law.